Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I partially recorded this video, so and then I have to delete it, and I'm starting over again. So I'll review what I have recorded so far, and then we'll go on. Okay. So Bismillah. So in this last part of chapter three, we're talking about words that are tawabe, words that nouns that follow other nouns. So tawabe are words that follow other nouns in sentence, in i'rab or in some other characteristics. So tabe in a sentence are words that follow other nouns. So the tabi'un is the word that follows, and the matbu'un is the word that is being followed. Okay, so and there are five types of tawabes that we are going to talk about. Last time we actually already talked about nat and man'ut, and then the other four are at takid and at tokid, same two different ways of spelling it, and al badal and al atfu biharfin, atfu nasakhin, and atfu bayan. So these are the five types of um, uh, tawabi. So I figured out semi-pneumatic is still pneumatic. Tawabi is like something that follows, like it's like a caboose to a train. It's like comes at the like over here. It's like a one car of a train attached to another car, so it follows. So he's the tawabi, and then which is attached to like the matbu over here, like this. That's like a little. You can imagine little train tracks, right there. So if two words are able to accomplish this particular scenario, would you say that's not bad? That's pretty good, right? That's an impressive accomplishment, right? So that's our mnemonic. Not bad, right? Talaga, not bad. They're attaching themselves like a little caboose in a train type of thing. Okay, so not bad. The not refers to the not, and there's double T there, two T's for takid, not, and takid. Bad is for badal, not badal. So not bad, right? And then there's only two more left, and they both start with ataf, and so that makes it easy. There is ataf biharfin and ataf al bayan, and so you can imagine little two flags or something coming out in the end. Ataf ataf biharfin or ataf al nasakhin and ataf al bayani. So there are two extra ones. So that little mnemonic hopefully will help us remember the five types of tawabe. So again, the terminology for tawabe, tabi'un is the word that follows another word, and the word that it follows is called the matbu'un over here. So matbu'un. So that's very important. And we previously talked about man'ut and nat follows man'ut. And here we're going to talk about, in this case, the tabi is going to be the ta'kid, the emphasis, okay? And what's being emphasized is called a mu'akkadun. So ta'kid and mu'akkadun, or mu'akkadun and ta'kid. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about in this section, which starts on page 100. So at-ta'kid and at-tawkid are two different ways of writing it. So is that tabi'un? Is that tabi'un which gives emphasis? Which gives emphasis to matbu'un, to the word that it follows in the matter related to it, or emphasis that emphasizes the inclusion of all of the members of the matbu. In other words, if the matbu is a plural, it's like emphasizes all the members of that plural in the matter that's related to it. And the examples that are given is ja'ani zaydun zaydun. The repetition of the word zaydun. Here the second zaydun is the tabi, the first zaydun is the matbu. The repetition says Zayd himself came to me. Za'ani Zayd himself came to me. Ja al qawmu kullahum. Here, the example over here, Ja al qawmu kullahum, it says the entire qawm. So this kullahum is emphasizing the inclusion of all members relating to the matter of coming. That means everybody in that qawm came. Ja, all the people came. Um, so Ja al qawmu kullahum. So that's the definition of at-ta'kid, which gives emphasis to the matbu, or emphasizes the inclusion of all members um, of the matbu in the matter related to it. So that's the definition. And then we went over here, and then we said there are two types of ta'kid. Okay, the two types of takid: takid lafziyun and takid ma'nawiyun. Okay, takid lafziyun. This is a pretty big topic in itself. Takid lafziyun and takid ma'nawiyun. Takid, emphasis with verbs, verbal verbs. So the first is at-tawakidun, at-tawkidun, at-tawkidun, at-tawkidun lafziyun. Verbal emphasis, emphasis with with words. So at verbal emphasis, at-tawkidun lafziyun. Emphasis attained by repeating the mu'akkadun, which may be. So this is simply by repeating the mu'akkadun, that's which is being emphasized, repeating this, whatever is being emphasized, which may be, and this mu'akkad, whatever is being, maybe a ismun, or fa'lun, or harfun, or damirun, or a whole sentence can be just repeated. So tawkid lafzi means whatever you want to emphasize, you just like repeat that word. Okay, ja'a zaydun zaydun, like that. Okay, this is a tawkid lafziyun because you're just repeating the same word. Which is Zayd definitely came. Ja'a Zaydun Zaydun means Zayd definitely came. So this is an example of a noun that's being repeated. Okay, and hadara hadaral ghaibu. Hadara means they were present, they came. Hadara hadara is being repeated. Here's a case of the fi'l that's being repeated. Hadara hadaral ghaibu. The absent one definitely became present. The absent one definitely came. And then, so that's an example of a verb or fi'l that's being repeated, and an example of a harf here that's being repeated. La akhun al-ahda. La akhun al-ahda means I will not break the pledge. Akhun al-ahda. I will not break the pledge. La means I will definitely not break the pledge. So in this case, the harf is being repeated, the la, for emphasis. La akhun al-ahda. I will not break the pledge. And then iftah anta nafizata. Iftah means you open. And then there's an anta after it, which is a damir. It's an example of the damir. Iftah anta, you open the door. Iftah anta nafizata. For emphasis, you open the window, that is to say. Iftah anta nafizata. That's also for emphasis. And finally, anta malumu. Anta malumun. You are the censured one. You are the censured one. So you're repeating the whole sentence, right? So here's an example of the whole sentence being repeated. You are indeed the censured one. You are the one that's being censured. So this is an example of al-tawkidu lafziyun. Okay, so that's how that's done. And the second category is this al-tawkidu ma'nawiyun. The emphasis through meanings. Emphasis through meaning. Emphasis is attained using any of the following words. Okay, it's just attained using any of the following word. First is like ainun and nafsun, which means like self, and kila and kilta, kullun ajma'un, akta'u, absa'u, abta'u. And we're going to talk about each of these individually here. And the first of these that we talk about here is ainun or nafsun, which means himself, herself, or itself. The same word can be used for masculine and feminine words. Okay, so they can be used for singular, dual, and plural. The same word can be used for singular, dual, and plural, except ainun and nafsun, they have, this is the singular form. The plural of ainun is a'yunun. I should probably write this kind of a little neater, you know what I'm saying? So the plural of ainun is, okay, a'yunun, a'yunun, or plural nafsun is anfusun, anfusun, like this. Okay, so that's the plural of these nouns. Okay, so it means themselves type of picture. Okay, but the thing about this is, so this is the plural. Okay, so this is the plural form of these singular words, and that and the in this context, however, the dual is not used. In case of dual, the plural form is used when you're talking about the dual. Okay, we'll see how that works. All right, so the dual form is not used. So how do we use these words for emphasis? Examples are given. So let's just go to the examples and you'll see what I mean. Khama Zaydun nafsuhu. Okay. Khama Zaydun nafsuhu. Zayd himself stood. So nafsuhu or ainuhu, they mean the same thing, self. Nafsuhu or ainuhu. So as you can see, there has to be this construction. So ainu and nafsu must be a mudaf to a damir. So this must be there must be a mudaf to it. I mean something must come after him, like nafsuhum, nafsuhu, things like that. Nafsuha, etc. Or a'yunuhum, a'yunuhunna, etc. So they have to be a mudaf to a damir. Okay, that's how they have to come. All right, but then the caveat being that if you're talking about dual muakkidun, if the muakkid is a dual, whatever being emphasized is a dual, you don't use the dual form of these. You use the plural form. So there's the dual form of these is not used. So it's like this: Khama Zaydun nafsuhu ainuhu. Zayd himself stood. Or Khama Zaydani, the two Zayds. Khama Zaydani, okay. Khama Zaydani anfusuhuma. See, this is plural form. Anfusuhuma. And then, or a'yunuhuma, which is also plural form. But you see, the damir is resonates with the mu'akkad. The damir always resonates with the mu'akkad. Okay? So, Khama Zaydani anfusuhuma. Khama Zaydani a'yunuhuma. The two Zayds themselves stood. And then the plural form khama zayduna, the many zayds, khama zayduna anfusuhum, plural forms. Anfusuhum or a'yunuhum. Zayds, the many zayds themselves stood. Khama zayduna anfusuhum or a'yunuhum. Okay? So, and then as I said, the plural form is used instead of the dual form in these cases. So the dual form is not used. So at-tawkid ma'nawiyun in as emphasis. It can be used with any of these words. We're going to talk about each of these individually. The first two was ainun and nafsun. The next we'll go on. Okay, so before we go on, some feminine examples are given of the same concept. Ja'at mu'allimatu ainuha. The female teacher herself came. Okay, the female teacher herself came. Okay, so ja'at mu'allimatu, this is singular, right? So it was singular female teacher. So ja'at mu'allimatu ainuhuma. So you singular form of ain and nafsuhuma, singular form of nafsun and ha. So the mudaf ilayh, the damir always agrees with the mu'akkadun, okay, because you're talking about her. Ja'at mu'allimatu ainuhuma, herself. And then they have two teachers, female teachers. Ja'at mu'allimatani, and then here we use the plural form again. We don't use the dual form of ainun and nafsun. So this is the plural form. A'yunuhuma, but the damir agrees with the mu'akkad again. Ja'at mu'allimatani a'yunuhuma. This is plural, but that is dual corresponding to the mu'akkadun, right? So ja'at mu'allimatani a'yunuhuma or anfusuhuma. Okay? And then finally, ja'atin mu'allimatu, plural, many female teachers. A'yunu, again plural form. A'yunuhunna, again the hunna corresponds with the mu'allimatu. جاءت المعلمات أعينهن أنفسهن. So there's no dual form of ayun or nafs that are used here, just a singular and dual. So ayunun or ayunun or nafsun or anfusun are used. Okay, so that's important, and that concludes this discussion. And then we'll go on to the second part of this discussion. So the next is kila and kilta. These are used for dual only. Okay, so these are used for duals only. Okay, so and kila is for masculine and kilta is for feminine. Okay, so these are used for dual forms and only for masculine. And they also must be mudaf to a damir, okay? So they both have to be a mudaf, okay, to a damir, just like the other ones. So they have to be mudaf to a damir, okay? So examples, I'll write the examples. Oh, I must say used for dual only, and they mean both. The meaning is both. Okay, that meaning is both. So khamar rajulani kilahuma. Both of the men came. Both of the men. Both of the men stood up. Khamatil muallimatani kiltahuma. Both of the female teachers stood up. Both of the female teachers stood up. So both of the men stood up. Okay, both of the female teachers, okay, stood up. Okay, so that's that. So that was pretty easy. This one, kila, kilta, both of them, whom, and they have to be only for dual. Kila is for masculine, kilta is for feminine. They have to be mudaf to damir, kilahuma, kiltahuma, etc. Like that. And then the third category is includes these three. Okay. The third category includes kullun. Okay. Ajma'u, ajma'u, and jami'un. Jami'un. Okay. And this means all. Okay. This means all. They are used for singular and plural. Okay. Interesting thing. They are used for singular and plural. Okay. That's interesting. We'll see how that works. Used for singular and plural. And kullun and jamiyun should be mudaf to a damir. Okay? Kullun and jamiyun should be mudaf to damir, which correspond to the mu'akkadun. So these two, okay? So kullun and jamiyun over here, okay, they need to be a mudaf to a damir. Okay? They have to be a mudaf to a damir. Okay? Kullun and jamiyun should be a mudaf to a damir. And okay? And ajma is used with its form sigha changing to the correspond to the murakkida. Okay, and then this ajmaun over here, okay, is used with its form. It's used with the sigha. Okay, it's used with the sigha and changes. We'll see how this works. Okay, changes according to the mu'akkadun. Okay, all right, so we'll see how that works with examples. Okay, so let's give some examples. Okay, so here it is. All right, so first example, qara'tu, I read al-kitabu, qara'tu al-kitaba kullahu, all of it. So you can see here again, kullahu is mudaf mudaf ilayh construction, kullahu mudaf mudaf ilayh construction, and the hu represents the kitab, the mu'akkadun, right? It is damir for the mu'akkadun. So mudaf to a damir. So qara'atul kitaba kullahu. I read all of the book. Okay, I read the whole book. Okay, ja'a ar-rijalu kulluhum. Ja'a ar-rijalu kulluhum. So all the men came. So again, the kulluhum here refers to the rijal, mudaf mudaf ilayh construct, ja'a ar-rijalu kulluhum. And then ja'a ar-rijalu jami'uhum. See, if you want to use jami'uhum, again you have to use the hum as a damir. And ja'a an-nasu ajma'una. See, ja'a an-nasu, all the people came. All the people came. And again, ajma'una, the sigha changes because of the plurality of the nas. Ja'a an-nasu ajma'una, like that. Okay, so that is now again, kullun, ajma'un, and jamiyun are used for singular or plural, whereas kila and kilta are used for duals only. So if you want to say both of them, you say that, and you say all of them, you say kullun ajma'un and jamiyun. And here is an example of kulluhu referring to the book, right? Qara'atul kitaba kulluhu. I read the whole book, entire book. Ja'a rijalu kulluhum. Ja'a rijalu jami'uhum. Ja'a nasu ajma'una. Okay, so that's that. And then another note is here, kullun, jamiyun, ajmaun can only be used for emphasis in those things which have parts or can be divided. Thus, kullu akramtu zaydun kulluhu, I treated all of Zayd hospitality would be incorrect. Okay, so that's important note. We should make a note of here over here. So note, okay, okay. So here I'll just make the note over here. Okay, note. All right. So erase this note. Okay, so these can only be used, okay, so these can only be used for emphasis of those things, okay, which have parts or can be divided, which have parts, okay, or can be divided, okay, or can be divided, okay. So you cannot say akramtu zaydun kulluhu. I treated all of Zayd hospitably. You can't do that. So so you have to only use those things which have parts and be divided, okay. All right. So the next category is number D over here. So category D is ak. These words I've never heard of these. Okay, this is akta'u. Okay, and then absa'u, absa'u, and abta'u, abta'u, akta'u, absa'u, abta'u. Okay, these are used for greater emphasis. Okay, so used for greater emphasis, whatever that means. Greater than above, I guess. Greater emphasis. Okay. Now, they appear after ajma'u. Okay, and appear after ajma'u. Okay, so they appear after like where is ajma'u? Jami'un over here, right? Okay, ajma'un over here, right? So jami'un ajma'u. الرجال رجال كلهم جاء الرجال جميعون جاء الناس أجمعون. Okay, so let's see. They are not used without ajma'u nor can they appear before ajma'u. Okay, so they are used for great emphasis and appear after. Okay, they cannot be used by themselves. Okay, cannot be used by themselves, and they can't come before ajma'u either. They have to come after ajma'u. Okay, all right. So I'll write some examples. Okay, so here's the two examples that are given. So again, uh, uh, akta'u, absa'u, abta'u are used for greater emphasis to come after, only after ajma'u. So ja al khamu ajma'una. All of the people came, and you can add these words. Akta'una, abta'una, absa'una. Another example, khamatin nisa'u juma'u. All of the women stood up. And it really stood up. All of the women stood up, for emphasis. Khamatin nisa'u juma'u, kuta'u, buta'u, or busa'u. Okay? So that's how these are used. Or they come after أجمعون after أجمعوا. Okay. جاء القوم أجمعون أك أكتعون أكتعون أبتعون أبسعون قامت النساء جمعوا كتعوا بتعوا بوصعوا. Okay, that's how these are used. And then we're almost finished with the section here. There's an analysis of a sentence here. I shall write. جاء القوم كلهم. Okay, كلهم أجمعون. So كلهم is a takid. So first of all, this is a mudaf and mudaf ilayhi, right? And this is a takid. So that's takid number 1, okay? And ajma'un is a takid number 2. And takid number 2. And then what's the mu'akkad? So al-khamu is the mu'akkadun. Mu'akkadun, that's being emphasized, okay? So, and then all together, so these 3, okay, those 3, let's see if I could, that's the fa'il, for this fa'il over here, fa'ilun with fa'ilun together, they will make the jumla fa'iliya khabariya. Okay, that's how this is analyzed. جاء القوم كلهم أجمعون التأكيد مضاف مضاف إليه, which is a ta'kid number 1, أجمعون ta'kid number 2, and mu'akkadum is al-khawmu, and together these make the fa'il, and fa'il make jumla fa'iliya khamariya. So that's it for this section. So just let's review from the beginning here, and then we will end. Okay, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we said that the last part of this chapter is about the tawabi, words that follow other words in Arab and other things. And there are 5 types of tawaki. That's not bad because they follow like a train. Not bad, and not is for not, and not double T is for takid. Bad is for badal. And then last 2 are ataf, right? So al-atfu biharfin, it is the same as atfu nasakhin, and then finally atfu bayani. So if we talked about the first 2, we'll talk about that the next time. So today we talked about at-takid or tawkid. Is that tabi which gives emphasis to matbu in the matter related to it, or emphasizes that the inclusion of all of the members of the matbu in the matter related to it, as in ja'ani zaydun zaydun ja'ani al-qawmu kullahum. So the tabi here is the ta'kid, and the matbu here is the mu'akkadun. All right. So, and then we said there were 2 types of ta'kid, ta'kid, ta'kid lafziyun, that is verbal emphasis attained by repeating the mu'akkadun, which may be a ism fi'il harf or zamir or a sentence. Ja'a zaydun zaydun, khadra khadra, غائب لا أخون أحدا لا أخون أحدا افتح أنت النافذة أنت ملوم أنت ملوم, like that. And then there is a tawkidu ma'nawi, an emphasis through meaning. Emphasis is attained by using any of the following words. We talked about each of these individually. Ainun nafsu means himself or herself. Kilta and kulama are for duels. And kullun ajma'un and atfa'un, absahun, and abta'un. We talked about that. And then so we talked about each of these individually. First of all, ainun and nafsun, which means himself, herself, or itself. In this case, singular and plural form, you use the dual form is not used. When you need the dual form, you use the plural form. They must be a mudaf to a damir. So khama zaydun nafsuhu ainuhu. Khama zaydani anfusuhuma a'yunuhuma. Again, here's a dual form, but we use the plural form of anfusuhuma and a'yunuhuma. And khama zayduna anfusuhum and a'yunuhum. So that's how those 2 are used. And the next next one was, if I could get up there, was kula, kila and kilta. Kila is masculine, kilta is feminine, which means both. They means both, and they're used only for dual. They also have to be mudaf to a damir. Khama rajulani kilahuma, khamatil muallimatani kiltahuma. So that's how they're used. And the next group was the kullun ajma'un or jamiyun. Kullun and jamiyun have to be mudaf to a damir. أجمعون, the sigha changes according to the mu'akkad. Okay, all of these can be used again only for things that have parts, or can be divided into parts, and not otherwise. So here we have خرعت الكتاب كله, that's the damir. جاء الرجال كلهم, جاء الرجال جميعهم, جاء الناس أجمعون. Okay, so أجمعون, as you can see over here, does not need a damir here, right? Only kullun and jamiun need damir. And the last set was these words which I had never heard of before. Akta'u, absa'u, abta'u. Akta'u, absa'u, abta'u, used for greater emphasis and only appear after ajma'u. Okay, they cannot be used by themselves, and they don't come before ajma'u, they have to come after ajma'u. So, and the examples are given over here. جاء قوم أجمعون, أكثعون, أبتعون, أبصعون. قامت النساء, جمعوا, كتعوا, بتعوا, بوسعوا. Okay, that's how it goes in the example of a sentence that جاء القوم كلهم أجمعون. That's how that sentence was analyzed. Okay, and so that's the review of this section. Inshallah, next time we will go on to the next part of the tabi, which is not bad, the badal. Inshallah. Alright. Until then, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah.